John Conley here in St. Paul at the Minnesota Wild offices, meeting with Mike Snee.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me on today.
Mike is the grand poobah. He is the czar.
You read that on my business card, didn't you?
Yes. College Hockey Inc.
There we go.
I've got a visitor's badge.
Yeah.
I can go anywhere in the building until they figure out that I probably shouldn't be going anywhere in the building. But College Hockey Inc., I think a lot of people may have some familiarity in that they've heard of it. They've maybe seen the logo once before.
Yep.
Probably, maybe they don't know it was you that created it, but you might have seen some of those great infographics that you put out.
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool. But why don't you just begin by telling people, College Hockey Inc., what is it?
We're a three-person nonprofit. I would call it a college hockey advocacy organization. We're 8 years old. We were created with a grant from USA Hockey. College hockey is pretty unique relative to other NCAA sports. Three main ways. One is, for the most part, outside of the creation of the Big Ten a few years ago, it's played in hockey-specific conferences only. So there are some challenges that's created. Number two, it's played by a wide variety of schools. Large schools like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, but also schools as small as D3 schools where hockey is its only Division I sport at that particular school. And then third, and probably the biggest one, unlike a basketball or a football or a baseball, there are many different places a player can play, and some of those are categorized as professional by the NCAA, and also it occurs at a younger age. So in some cases, players as young as 15 and frequently as young as 16 are losing their amateur eligibility. And that was done occasionally or frequently in a cloud of not enough information when they made their decision. So our organization was started in part to ensure that young players, young aspiring players, and people that influence them have all the information they need about college hockey.
So great, just to summarize, there's a lot there. So it was created, funded by USA Hockey,
yes,
to help as an advocacy group with a lot of education, but I know you mentioned the sports. I don't know about college football and college basketball. We've got the volleyball Final Four here in the Twin Cities this week. Do other sports have anything similar to this at all?
To the best of my knowledge, no. So perhaps there is, I'm just not aware of it, but no. And for that reason, I can understand it because every 17-year-old aspiring volleyball player is eligible as an amateur. Now, maybe academically, I don't know, but from an amateur status, there isn't anything that they're doing, whether they're playing on this club or that high school team or whatever it might be, that's compromising their amateur status. And as far as I know, that's the case with the other sports, but not the case with hockey. And I should note that since we started 8 years ago, we've also added two other important components, one of which is we view ourselves as the PR department for all of college hockey. So hopefully you've seen an increase in terms of just coverage of college hockey in general because of that. And then the third piece, which is very exciting, is we have taken on the challenge of trying to grow the sport and have more schools add hockey. Essentially use Penn State and the success they had as a blueprint. We've had some initial success with Arizona State. That was started out as one of our projects, and we've got some momentum at a few other schools too. So we do more than just what we initially started to do. And in essence, that's why I would like to say we're an advocacy organization for college hockey.
So that's great. So you're not working against those college-specific, the hockey-specific conferences that you mentioned. You're working in concert with them.
Yes.
You're not working in butting heads with the NCAA. You're working with them, and you're funded by USA Hockey. So I give USA Hockey my $40 when I sign up. They do a lot with it. They do a lot of great stuff. But
coaching, education, and
what's their incentive to fund something like this? Why did this come to be? What is their reason?
And I should note too that the support also comes from the NHL. So the NHL gives a grant to USA Hockey, a bigger grant, with the intent of grow hockey in our country, grow hockey in the United States. That grant feeds a number of different things, one of which is College Hockey Inc. So the notion of College Hockey Inc., and I like to boil it down this way, is think of the impact that college basketball has on the sport of basketball. Think of the impact that college football has on the sport of football. Okay, we want college hockey to have that same impact on hockey. And it certainly does in Minnesota, the Michigan area, up in North Dakota, New England, a few areas like that. But as hockey has grown in this country, both in terms of participation, you've got players playing everywhere. You mentioned your son plays down in Florida, and NHL teams. We have NHL teams in Nashville, Las Vegas, soon in Seattle, in new hockey areas. College hockey really hasn't followed suit.
Yeah, it was early 80s. Northern Arizona, Division
US International,
US International in San Diego.
Yep.
So we had 2 Sun Belt teams, and up until recently, Division I and Division III NCAA, only one in Huntsville, and more recently adding Arizona State, so we're at 2. So I always think it's a fun discussion, maybe a topic for another day. What's the next?
Put it this way: our long-term goal is someday we want to have, let's say, USC and UCLA battling this weekend in a big, bitter 2-game series. Maybe Stanford's playing Cal, and up the coast we got Washington playing Oregon with the Pac-12 title on the line. We want that to happen. And if it does happen, if it gets to that point, there will be a lot of people falling in love with hockey because they went to an Oregon Ducks game or because they went to a Stanford Cardinal game. So we need college hockey, as I like to say, we need it to do its part and pull on the rope, like the NHL has done and like USA Hockey has done by growing the sport from a participation standpoint and from a professional standpoint, border to border, coast to coast. We need college hockey to try to grow border to border, coast to coast.
Well, I think you've done a great job explaining to our viewers what college hockey is, why it was started, and some of the things that you work on a daily basis. So just maybe close with a fun story about College Hockey Inc., the role of college hockey, the great state of hockey that we're standing in right now. You've got a million of them, but maybe just share one of those, because there's probably some fun stuff that you encounter in your job.
Well, the sport's filled with wonderful people. I think that's the best part about it. I don't know if it's fun is the right word. But just being able to be part of a game that, I guess what I've concluded is the sport isn't simple to get involved in. Okay, it requires a unique facility. It requires a skill other than running. It can be an intimidating sport for somebody that has never been involved in it before. And whereas if you think of like basketball, every school has a gym.
Very few barriers to entry.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like completely 2 different stories. So what I believe happens is people that get involved in hockey, and 2 of us being 2 of them, you love it, first of all, because it is a great sport, fun to play, fun to watch, and then you feel like you're a steward for it. So I enjoy being part of a group of people, all of whom want to grow the game, and want to leave the campsite better than when they got there. And I'm also involved in a few other sports through my children and stuff, and love other sports. And I don't feel that stewardship as much because I think there's this attitude that, well, that sport doesn't need me to contribute because it's going to go on with or without me. Where I think everybody involved in hockey, whether you're, Wayne Gretzky, or whether you're, coaching a squirt team somewhere in northern Minnesota, you all feel like you're important to the game, and that if you weren't there, the game would be a little worse off if you weren't doing your part. So I don't know if that qualifies as fun. But I've noticed that, I feel that, and I'm happy and excited to be part of that.
So he's Mike Snee, doing a lot of great stuff with College Hockey Inc. I'm John Connolly. Thanks.